Jadav is back at it here to give everyone my final Breaking Bad Season 5 episode review video as I've reached the series finale of Breaking Bad. And if you're not caught up to the point where I am and rewatching or watching Breaking Bad, or you're just not entirely sure, then you definitely need to take the initiative and pay attention to the episode's title, which of course I'll say as well as put in the description for you. If that happens to be the case and you're not caught up, it would be my suggestion that you don't watch this video any further to avoid any potential spoilers. And there's a chance that I will review El Camino, a Breaking Bad movie. I've already actually done that when that had originally aired on the channel, but I might redo it just simply because I only watched it one time in full. Actually, I think I've seen it twice in full. We'll see about that. But this will be Breaking Bad Season 5, Episode number 16. The title of this episode is called Felina. This will be my review, reaction, recap after just finishing watching the episode. So we see Walt in a car full of snow in New Hampshire, and he's trying to essentially start the car up, and he has no means to. Then a bunch of or police car flashes are around him, but there's snow covering the car. And then Walt just happens to flip the visor down, and keys magically fall out. So he gets that car. Eventually, Walt stops at a gas station, which I believe was in New Mexico. He makes a couple phone calls. He finds out where the Schwartzes live. And then Walt decides to go to a Denny's just to have eggs and bacon on his birthday, as it's his 52nd birthday on Breaking Bad. And in that stolen car, he does track down Gretchen and Elliot Schwartz. He claims to have hired Hitman, Badger, and Skinny Pete, whom used laser pointers to spoof weapon sights aimed at them. And then Walt makes the Schwartzes agree to use his remaining $9.72 million to establish a trust fund for Walter Jr. And then he pays Badger and Skinny Pete, he pays them, and then he actually obtains information that his blue meth is still being distributed, and he figures out that it must be Jesse who is doing it and is still alive with that. So Walt retrieves the ricin from his abandoned house, connects an M60 machine gun to a pivoting turret inside the trunk of a car he is now driving, and rigs the gun to remote unlock button of the car he stole in New Hampshire. Now, he interrupts Todd and Lydia's coffee shop meeting and offers what he claims is a formula for methylamine-free meth. Lydia has a little interest in that, just because she knows that it will lure Walt to meet Jack, knowing Jack will not tolerate it and he will kill Walt. Marie calls Skylar to warn her that Walt is in Albuquerque, and then we find out Walt is already with Skylar and leaves her the lottery ticket, which contains the coordinates for the grave of Hank and Steve Gomez, which he advises her to use to obtain a favorable plea bargain with the DEA. Now, Skylar allows Walt to see a sleeping Holly one last time, and before that whole thing, Walt starts to ramble about, Skylar, you've got to understand, I did this, I did it for me. Because Skylar's like, if I have to hear one time everything you did was for the family, and he says he did it for me, I was good at it. I liked it. I felt alive. So that was a pretty crazy scene. And then Walt leaves and watches Walter Jr. arrive home from school, but obviously doesn't go talk to him or anything like that because they've got people watching the house. But Walt was sneaky enough to get past them somehow, some way. And then Walt parks alongside the headquarters of Jack's compound. Jack orders him killed, and Walt accuses Jack of failing to carry out the execution of Jesse Pinkman that Walt had paid for. Jack is actually angered at the suggestion that he would partner with a rat and orders that Jesse be brought from Jack's meth lab so he can prove Jesse is a captive. So Jesse's brought in his chains with cuts on his face, and then Walt tackles Jesse and remotely fires the machine gun through the building's walls, killing everyone but Jack, Todd, Jesse, and Walt are killed. Now, Todd looks out the window And then Jesse from behind grabs and strangles Todd to death with the shackles, then freeing himself with Todd's keys. And then Jack real quick attempts to bargain for his life, puts a cigarette in his mouth, and he's like, don't you want your money? Don't you want to know where your money is? And then Walt just shoots him right in the head. And then a wounded Walt, he asks Jesse to kill him. He like rolls the gun on the floor and says, do it. And then Jesse's like, say you want it. I want it. And then Jesse's like, well, do it yourself. And then Walt, you hear a phone go, Lydia, hello, Lydia, where hello, Lydia, hello, lady. It's Todd's phone, and Walt answers it, and it's Lydia. Walt tells her she will soon die because he planted ricin in her coffee shop, or planted ricin in her coffee shop, Stevia. And Jesse and Walt exchange a farewell glance before Jesse flees in Todd's El Camino. El Camino, a Breaking Bad movie, will probably be next, most likely. And Walt goes in Jack's lab and admires the lab, and then he puts his hand on the tank and all of a sudden falls to his death. Now, police eventually rush in as he lies motionless, a slight smile of satisfaction on his face, and we hear this song, Baby Blue, and that is how this amazing show ends. So, obviously, you have still El Camino, a Breaking Bad movie. That didn't come out until 2019. This happened in 2013. It was a wild ride. Every time I've watched this show, which, God, it's been 8-9 times now. Yeah, surprisingly, I've watched this show quite a bit. I'm surprised it's not my number one. I just rewatch it at least once a year or every other year, with twice a year sometimes, but it's an awesome show. This episode is a 10 out of 10. Although it is a little slow to begin, like they have the part with Walt in the car, they have the part with Walt at the gas station, they have the part with Walt at Denny's. All that stuff is kind of slow. Then it builds to this thing where Walt kills all these Nazis with just him and this electronic gadget that he's made, which is pretty awesome. Jesse didn't have a lot in this episode. I mean, you see Jesse, he gets in the El Camino and like he screams at the end. So this wasn't Jesse's story. This was Walt's story. So the episode is going to be a 10 out of 10. And of course, Walter White is the character of the episode. What a wild ride. So you've heard what I have to say. Not much more to say, but now it's your turn. So if you're a fan of Breaking Bad and you absolutely love this series and you think this series, for the most part, ended on a pretty awesome note. Now, obviously, we're not talking about El Camino at the moment, but this episode in general tied up a bunch of stuff. Why is the ricin and the taped to the other side of the outlet? Then you need to smash that like button. If there's anybody that you know that would be interested in anything Breaking Bad related, if I don't have it already, let me know about it and I'll make the content. Make sure you share that stuff with them. Don't forget to sound off in the comment section about your thoughts on this episode. What would you score the episode? I wonder who would be your character of the episode and your favorite moment of the episode. And of course, last but certainly not least, I want to grow the channel a lot more. So don't forget to hit that sub button, subscribe to the channel, join the team, show your damn support, and be a part of something special. And JDev will return.